Manus AI, AI Super Agent has just launched this new update where starting today, basically you'll get additional free daily tasks for all users. So you get 300 credits per day, which allows you to have one task per day. And additionally, you'll get a one-time bonus of 1,000 credits for all users. Basically, this just allows you to use the Super Agent for free. Now, in terms of free daily task credits, these refresh at midnight and don't roll over. So bear in mind, you got to use them like whilst you can. But you can get free access to Manus now using their AI Super Agent, and it's pretty simple and easy to get access to. All right. Now, you can also see here inside Manus, if we click on the dashboard here, we can select between all these new different features that have been added here, right? So you can see what people are building out, what people are doing, etc. If we click on view space, it's kind of like a social network where you can see what people built. So for example, if you want to build like websites, apps, tools, games using Manus, you can, and it's come out with a free update like you can see right here. It's a free daily task credits, which is pretty awesome. Like, that's a big win for a lot of people watching. I know a lot of people want to use it, but they can't because, for example, they don't have credits or they can't afford access, whatever. But you can see here, this is available for all users, right? 300 free credits. So pretty awesome news right there. And yeah, you can get access each day. Now, if you want to build something with Manus, for example, like you can see right here, then you can just go inside here and just type in what you want. You get a choice between standard and high effort. So high effort, obviously, it's going to use more credits when you're building with Manus. Whereas, for example, with standard mode is just kind of like the balance between quality and speed. So you can get faster outputs, but it's going to cost less credits and it's going to give you less quality. Okay? You can also choose whether you want Manus to confirm plans based off that. We'll go inside here and we'll just say, okay, build this, right? And then from here, you could also take a screenshot of what you want. So if you wanted something like this, then you can take a screenshot like so. Grab that, like you can see, copy the image, go back into Manus, paste that in, and then hit enter, right? So if we wait for that to load, it's just uploading the screenshot here. We've said build this, it's giving us details, then we can click enter, right? And you can see the daily refresh credits here. So we've got our normal credits, and then we also have free credits, right? So this is the free credits, so you can see right here if you want to check it. And if you want to see your usage, how much you've used, etc., then you can see an example right here. So it breaks it down, free credits right there, which is pretty cool. And then you can also see like all the credit changes over time, so you can see where you've used your credits, and you can even connect, like, for example, Google Drive and other things as well. Pretty awesome. And then you can see some examples of what we've built with Manus right here. So these are some examples. For example, Medieval Realms fantasy game. And then, this is a game where I can just go around in this medieval world, do what I want to. We've got another example here. So this is a AI SEO content writer. Basically here we can just plug in our API key, our keyword, our content outline, and then generate content over here, which is pretty cool. So you can build your own SaaS products as well. This is another one. What else we got? We got a SEO directory. So it's like a local SEO directory. This is a presentation on AI agents that we built with Manus. And then finally, this is another game that I actually built with Manus. Pretty cool. I think actually this is not the one I built. This is someone else built this one. But you can see an example of what it looks like and how it works, etc. Pretty cool, right? Full game built out with AI, just like Mario Bros. And if you want to see like what people are building at right now, so if you actually go into here, go to new task, you'll see the recommendations at the bottom here, right? So you can see between what people are building. So if you click on content creator, for example, you can see all this stuff people are building out here. We've got productivity tools, data analysis, education, research, and life stuff, right? Pretty cool. So if we click on this, let's have a look what someone's built. So this is your sleep well resource plan. Click on that. We've got an action plan for sleeping better. If we go back, we've got the binaural beat section. And then finally, we have the positive sleep affirmation section that someone has built. Right? It's pretty cool. It's kind of like Facebook, but for AI agents. People are just sharing what they built. Someone else built Candy Crush over here. They seem to have hidden it. Let's have a look. We've got Pong as well. So this is like a self-playing Pong game. Like you can see. What else have people built? The other thing you can do as well, if you click on this one, for example, so you can take the subdomain and then just search on Google for that website. So for example, site:/manus.space. And then from here, you can type in whatever you're looking for if you need inspiration, right? So for example, if we type in game, we can see all the stuff related to games that people have built, right? So for example, an AI-powered shooter game. Let's click on that, see what we got. But yeah, you get the point. So if you want to build something like this, let's go back to Manus now. And then if we go to get started, we can type in what we want. So let's say, for example, okay, build a 3D runner game where I'm an AI agent. Dodging penalties related to AI. Make it fun and interesting, right? I just want to see with those custom instructions as well, is it more autonomous? Because when I tested it yesterday, for example, it was like asking me to confirm everything before I actually went off and built it. But you can see now it's starting to build that out without any sort of messing around there. Now, one thing that I will say is, like, from my own experiments, GenSpark is still the best for creating games and tools and apps with AI, but Manus is still powerful, right? So if you want a free version, you can use Manus, you get the free credits daily. But if you want, for example, a more powerful agent, I would still recommend GenSpark. It just seems to be better when it's building stuff out. So for example, if we have a look here, we have a look at this website that we built with Manus. And we actually compare that versus GenSpark. Alright, so this is the website built with Manus. This is the one built with GenSpark. And GenSpark's outputs are typically better, more customized. It actually inserts the images from our actual website. It tends to give better outputs, but it is a paid tool, right? Whereas you can use Manus for free. So if we go back inside here, you can see it's now building stuff out. We can also have like multiple different tabs working at the same time. And if you're wondering, okay, like what can I build with this, or what could I create, etc., right? So you could, for example, like type in your niche or your industry into Google and then see what tools or apps people are looking for, right? So for example, if we type in SEO app, we'll see what people are looking for. So SEO app for YouTube, right? That's an example. So now we can go back to Manus and we can say, okay, create an SEO app for YouTube. Make it interesting, fun and simple. Then give me the instructions to deploy it and get it approved on Google Play Store, right? And so now you've got two different tasks working in the background. You've got the SEO app for YouTube that we found the idea through Google. And then we've also got, for example, the 3D runner game where we're dodging AI penalties and stuff like that. One of the other issues you're going to face with Manus is that it does take quite a long to complete. So, for example, here, you know, this was 5 minutes ago. We asked it to build the runner game, and it does seem to be quite slow. So, for example, if we went over to Gemini, and we were using Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview to do the same thing, which again is a paid tool to be fair, and then we click on Canvas here, we want to build a 3D runner game that we can deploy. It's going to be, I'm 99% sure it's going to be faster on Gemini, right? So you can see this is still creating the game. Gemini is already coding it out, so it's kind of skipped ahead from Manus. And Gemini's API is just, it's goated at the minute. I'll come on to that later, but you can see an example of how fast it is, how quickly it moves, etc., compared to Manus, which is still working its magic and started on that 5 minutes ago and hasn't even started creating the full game yet, right? So let's wait for that to load. We've got the first game of, here's an example, and then here we've got it working its magic, right? Now, obviously, if you wanted to improve that, probably Gemini is still going to give you better output. So you can see how much faster Gemini is versus Manus. But the difference here is like Manus, it has a lot more capabilities outside of its own sort of window, right? So, for example, with Gemini, it can't really like communicate with the outside world, right? Whereas, for example, if we go inside a new task on Manus, you can actually get it to deploy, you know, apps and games, etc., on subdomains directly inside Manus. But yeah, the other thing as well, like if you're using GenSpark, for example, GenSpark is another AI super agent. So with GenSpark, you get a lot more functionality. So for example, like this can actually do outbound calls for you. It can, for example, like do lead generation for you and outreach. And also it's got this fact checking feature that looks really cool. I haven't tested it. Additionally, you can like generate images, videos, AI chat, and then also translation. So, I mean, Manus is pretty generous what they're doing, giving away 300 free credits per day. But you're probably not going to get the same speed of outputs as something like Gemini, and you won't get the same level of autonomousness, if that's a real word, as something like GenSpark. But it's up to you. I mean, you can't complain if it's free, right? That's what they say. Well, they do say if it's free, you are the product. But you get the point. So, thanks so much for watching. If you want to get a free SEO strategy session, feel free to book that in. Link in the comments description. On this call, we're just going to give you an SEO custom game plan. You can jump on, discover how to rank your website on Google and other AI search engines. Additionally, if you want to get our AI Profit Boardroom, this is an amazing community just focused on making more money and saving you time with AI. It comes with all my best FAQs, templates, tutorials, agents, and also weekly calls with us. So if you want to jump on weekly calls with us or ask any questions inside the community, you absolutely can. So feel free to check that out. Link in the comments description. Tokrina says 300 credits every day. It's crazy. Big TV says just update. It's not insane. It's an infamous word now. Insane, isn't it? Absolutely infamous. Alright, so next up what we're going to do is we're going to be testing out something quite interesting, which is using bulk DIY. So I'll come on to that in a second. Alright, so what we're going to be testing now is Bolt DIY with Gemini 2.5 Pro. Now, if you want to set this up, pretty simple inside the GitHub instructions, like you can see right here. So you can actually use Bolt DIY and Gemini 2.5 Pro to build out your own apps, and you can do it for free using a free API key and the latest version of Gemini 2.5 Preview. So let me show you exactly how to do this step by step. The way that we're going to deploy this is we're going to use this inside Terminal. So I'm just going to open up Terminal now. Let's plug this in. Here we go. And you just copy the commands. Now, if you get stuck with anything or you need to install any dependencies and you're struggling, then just copy and paste the whole stuff from terminal. You can press Control A and then Control C. And once you've done that, you can paste that into Claude and just ask for help. But it's pretty easy to set up. Like you can see, we literally just copied and pasted all the instructions from GitHub. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up on a new local tab, like you can see. And then what we're going to do is inside here, we're going to select Google, and we shall select let's have a look here. .5 Pro Experimental. All right. So you can see here, you can switch between the two. Now, if you want to use Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental, you select this one. You can see $0 in, $0 out. It's not going to cost you any money. If you want to use 2.5 Pro Preview, then you're going to pay for tokens right there. But again, you can just switch to the free one if you want right here. Right. I'm going to use Preview, just show you the full power of this today. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to aistudio.google.com, get an API key, create an API key, plug that in, like you can see right here. And then we can copy that and plug it directly into Bolt, right? So you see, you've got this set up locally, which is great because then you can come back to the projects and it is completely free to use Bolt DIY. Now, some people watch this and say it's not free. I've shown you, you can set up Bolt DIY for free. And also, you're not paying for Bolt.new this way because you're running this locally. Right? It's an open source thing, right? So now what we can do is we can plug in that API key over here. We're going to hit enter like so. And then from here, we can start running the code. So let's take one of these example prompts like this. So for example, like make a Space Invaders game, just to test it's actually working. Just going to grab an API key from OpenRouter, create API key, copy that. I'll delete these API keys after the live stream, so let's just delete that one for now. So we're going to grab an API key from OpenRouter to start using Preview inside here. We'll go inside OpenRouter here, plug that in, paste it in, there we go. Now we'll say okay. We'll go back here. And you can see it's building it out, right? So we're using Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview, which is the latest model, all right? Now, if you go over to OpenRouter here, and we go to Models, you can see Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview is the latest update from Google Gemini, and it was created on May the 7th, 2025. Right? So that's the main one that we're using here. And then if we go back, we can see it's coding it out right now. Now, the main benefit of using Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview is that it tends to be better than, building stuff, for example, like Like you can use Claude, for example, but Claude is just nowhere near as good from what I've seen. And the main reason for that is like Claude is a lot slower when you're coding stuff out, whereas Gemini, it seems to be a lot faster. It's pretty cheap, or it's completely free if you use the ways that I've shown you today. And you can see it literally works like first time. It's absolutely crazy. So let's start building some ideas out now. That was just like a simple experiment, and we're gonna go inside here and just plug in your niche and then get some ideas, right? So if I say, okay, give me some fun app ideas for creating simple apps for my SEO agency, we'll grab this like so. That's going to give us some ideas. So for example, like the backlink builder tycoon game, we'll go into bolt.new, we'll plug that in, we'll say build this. And I'm just going to say like, give me a simple demo I can test. No need to build out the full game yet. Right. So basically what we've done here is we've taken our industry, our niche, got a bunch of ideas for building games and apps using that niche, and then we've plugged that into Bolt DIY, and we're using Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview plus Bolt DIY to build this out, right? Like you can see. So if we hit enter like so, that should start doing its magic now. And you can see it's just coding itself out. And there we go, boom. The game is done, right? Now what you could also do is you could say, okay, turn this idea into a 3JS runner game. Wait for that response. And again, you can get everything that you've built on the left hand side here. And then also if you want to preview this, you can actually open it up in a separate tab, like you can see. So you just click this pop-up button over here. So there we go. I'm just going to say make sure the preview works. And we'll see what we get back. So now we've got the outputs of the game. Obviously that's like the basics, right? The raw sort of files. So what I'm going to say now is add more detail to the game. Make it more interesting. Add some cool backgrounds, etc. Right? Make it feel more immersive. And then what you can also do is you can copy that, and if you see this bit at the bottom, this is the AI prompt generator. So if we click on enhance the prompt, what that can do is just improve the prompt so it's got a bit more detail. Right? The other thing you can do as well is like if that just doesn't work, like you can see right here, then you can just go into ChatGPT and just say, okay, improve this prompt for bulk DIY. Like you can see. Alright. Now, as you're doing that as well, if we click on enter like so, we can just go back and forth and sort of build out the app step by step. So you can see the AI preview now. This is like the improved version of it. I'm also wondering if we can code two things at the same time. Last time I checked, you couldn't with bulk DIY, but let's see if you can now. So if we go back here, to the main section, we'll take the next idea in a second. Now that actually, if you code two things out at the same time, seems to break it. So you can see here, this is stop coding now with no preview. So just something to bear in mind there. So you can't build two things at the same time. So now we'll wait for the anchor text game to roll out. See what we can build here. Now this actually seems to have stopped for a second here. So I'm just going to stop the terminal, which is good for you to see, like if you're not sure how to fix this. So you can see here that it's actually broken on us. I'm just going to switch that back on now. We'll just pnpm install that. and then we'll pm run dev that again. All right. Now if we grab that, we'll go back here. Just go back to terminal, get the right address. Here we go. And then we'll go again. I just need to check my credits as well on OpenRouter. Yeah, we're all good to go there. Now this might be because of the limit on the Gemini 2.5 Pro updates. So if you are struggling between them, you can just switch through here. So if like one API stops working, you can actually change the API inside the drop down here if you're struggling at any point. Alright, and there we go. We've got the anchor text match game ready to go, so we can drag and drop. Like you can see, it gives us the idea of whether it's incorrect or correct. So if we take best SEO tools and drag it to top SEO software, correct match, boom, we've got it right. Right. Now, if you want to improve the UI, etc., this is super basics. It's always going to build out like a basic prototype, and then you can create something more interesting. Like you can see right here. So we've got 2 out of 5. So if we go back inside here, and we'll say, okay, make the design more modern, sleek, interesting. I'll put Duolingo style, and then we'll hit enter and just sort of vibe code it to a better prototype. Again, if this just stops working, like you can see, we can switch to Pro Experimental. Then we'll say continue. And you can just switch between them. So there you go, you can see it's working now. It does seem to have like a rate limit, so just bear with it, right? I mean, like, especially if you're using the free APIs, like, it might take a little bit of time, but that's the price you pay, isn't it? You can either have it cheap or you can have it fast. started trying to create sound effects for some reason, but I told it not to, so that's why it's bouncing around now and just changing a few things. The other option that you have with Gemini is you don't just have to use Bolt DIY as well. So another option is you can just go over to Firebase, right? So for example, if Bolt DIY is struggling, maybe you're trying to build something more complex or you need a bit more guidance, like a proper app sort of process, then you can go over to Firebase. And this is actually quite impressive now with Gemini 2.5 Pro, plus it is free to use. So I'm just going to show you some examples and I'll delete these. So if we go over to here and we're like, right, okay, create this. So we'll copy that idea from ChatGPT, click on create this. This is kind of like another Bolt.new alternative that's completely free, as long as you only do like 10 workspaces at a time. And the cool thing about this is it will actually give you like a briefing document to approve first. So for example, you got the SEO Mythbusters, features down here, style guidelines, etc. We'll click on prototype this app. And then all we need to do is just go back. I'm just going to delete that API key, one sec. So if we go to AI Studio, grab the API key from there so we can get a free one. Copy that. Go over here. This is going to ask us in a sec for an API key. So we'll just wait for this to code out. So you can see it's like built out the blueprint. It's like, right, here's the name of the app, SEO Mythbusters. It's going to include quiz questions, feedback, interactive UI, email capture, and results summary. Now it's coding out. what you can also do as well is, like, for example, the email capture stuff. If you're not bothered about that, then you can say, like, don't worry about the email capture. But you can see here now it's coded out the app. So we've got SEO Mythbusters. UI is pretty nice and clean. Let's just test it out. And then if we actually plug in the API key over here, so let's copy that, go back here, plug that inside here. We can use the AI API key to generate responses inside the app, right? So for example, if we put keyword stuff in, helps improve SEO rankings, that's false obviously. Then it's generating the feedback, and that should be using the API key from Gemini that we just plugged in over here. All right, so it's another way to build apps. To be honest, like the outputs nowadays, as you can see, like the outputs are probably nicer directly inside Firebase Studio versus using Bolt DIY. But if you prefer to code locally, then you're going to use Bolt DIY, right? This is another one, so it's called White Hat Defender, a Black Hat SEO defense game. Let's prototype that out as well. And you can build two apps side by side, right? So whilst you're waiting for one to code, you can build out the other one. And then also inside here, you can switch to code. So you can actually get all the files from the document. You can hit publish on that as well. So if we click publish, right, like so, we're good to go on that. But yeah, you can see there's many different ways to build out apps, tools, games, etc.